What's up guys, David here and welcome to the Fit Pro Daily. A new week means a brand new topic, and this week we're going to focus on business development and business growth. And we're going to start the week off by inviting Stephanie from Bootcamp SE16 onto the show to share her experience on going from a single trainer to now having a team while also having a family and moving home and COVID and everything else in between. Now she's now operating with over 200 clients online and offline with her bootcamp. So it's going to be one of those really good episodes where you probably want to keep taking notes as we make our way through. But for now, before we do dive in, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, press pause, press subscribe, and then let's dive into this week's guest. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's special guest interview. Today, we have Stephanie here all the way from London. Is that what you're based here?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Hi.
How's it going? You okay?
Yeah, good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. When I post it out, I know you've got a few fans or a few people out there. When I post it, I'm like, oh yeah. People are sort of, and there's a couple of people actually watching us live, and I'm guessing
brilliant.
It goes live, and in the general public, there'll be a lot more people watching it and taking a lot of notice, because what you've done for your boot camp has been quite special. You've kind of gone almost from nothing to where you are now, and it's going to be quite inspirational to a lot of people watching. So it's quite good to have you on. So how did you yourself get started in the fitness industry?
So I started back in 2003, and I took my group exercise qualification, and I started teaching Les Mills classes like body combat, but I also did a lot of freestyle stuff. So I worked for a lot of different gyms in London. I built up to teach a lot of different styles of classes. And before you know it, I was teaching because I had quite a lot of styles I could teach. It was quite easy to find work. You could kind of build up work. But then I started getting very tired out from teaching 24 classes a week. Your body has only so much endurance, and I was getting a lot of injuries. So I thought I need to broaden my qualifications, and it would be great to go into level 3. So I took my level 3 qualification. And then I took a step out of the industry for a little bit, and I started working in property, but I kind of kept my foot through the door, and carried on teaching a few weekends and evening classes. And I eventually got sick of working in property. And so I thought, you know what, now's the time for me to set something up what I can call my own. I'm going to set up an outdoor boot camp. I found an amazing location where I lived at the time. And, I just wanted to work with locals. I wanted to work with, I found that the gyms that I enjoyed the most were the ones that were more community orientated or not so commercial. People who were like more residential gyms I preferred working with, because the clientele was different. And so I wanted to set up something that was very community orientated, that local residents could come to. And that's when I set up my first bootcamp session in the park one Saturday morning. I had 6 people, 2 of which still come to my sessions. And this was back in 2013. And then the other 4 I still keep in touch with online. They've moved out of the area, but I still see and speak to them. So yeah, that's how I started it basically.
So where are you now? And fast forward to 2021, you've just come out a lot.
Fast forward, we have 200 clients. We have over 25 classes a week online. We have 13 sessions a week outside. I have a team of around 7 coaches. I have a sales assistant, I have an admin assistant, and I have myself. And it's pretty good. It's a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work. And I have 2 children. I have a husband, a house, a dog and a cat. So I have a very full-on life. But I say the kind of, the one thing that you need to have is a really solid team, team and a support network. And I'm very lucky to have a family. Like my mum is like an extension of me, and my neighbor also is like, godparent to my children. So because I have that support network, it enables me to do what I need to do and to do what I want to do with my business.
A great thing you just said there, and a lot of people who are watching this who maybe they're not married, don't have kids.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a tough world. It's a struggle. This is a lady here with 2 kids, a cat and a dog, married.
And a dog, I put that in there, yeah.
Still crushing it. So guys, you can do it, even if you have certain hurdles or no hurdles. It is always possible there. So,
I mean,
carry on.
no, I was just going to say, you have to have this mentality that you want to succeed and that you want to get it done. And when you have this mentality that you want to build something for yourself and you want to build a business and you'll do what it takes to get the job done, you will succeed. I used to show up to run outdoor bootcamp sessions in the dead of winter. We're talking like -4 winds and rain, 38 weeks pregnant, like 2 pregnancies. So what I say to my clients, I built this culture where it doesn't matter what the weather is, we're there. And I say to them, if I could do it in the winter whilst carrying a child, you guys can do it. And, so I use my own experiences within building my business to even take new clients on. And so what I say to people out there who are looking to build a bootcamp business is you have to really want to do it. You have to have a passion for what you want to do. You have to have persistence, but also really understand what you stand for, live by your own standards, and kind of put that into the world, and you'll attract clients who will want in on that.
Yeah, good. Fair play to a boot camp. It's not something I would want to do. I'm sat in the gym today, and there's a class going on behind me. I'm like, oh, it's nice and warm. It's never raining inside here.
I know.
I'm guessing you've got to do boot camp in all conditions.
All conditions. It was hailing the other night, and we were just cracking on. We were laughing at the hail. I thought, oh, great, this is a great Instagram opportunity.
Yeah. So I was going to go right back to your first, like when you got started, but a question I've got here, because you've said you motivated people by you were pregnant and you're still going out in the wind and rain. What difficulties have you had stepping away from doing a lot of coaching when people have actually bought into you and now it's not you doing their sessions type of thing?
Yeah, so I started and it was just me doing all of it. And then it was the year I was getting married, and I knew I needed to bring a coach on because I couldn't be there 6 days a week. We were running them 6 days a week. So I brought my first coach on, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it because it gave them a bit more variety. And so the way I sold it to them was, you guys are going to get sick of me if you see me all the time. Let's bring someone new in, so give you some variety. So you have to sell it to people, basically. You have to kind of sell it to them in a way where they're getting 2 for the price of 1. And then I brought in the 3rd coach and the 4th coach and the 5th coach, and we just kind of worked at it from there. They know my days are Monday and Tuesdays. If they want to see me, they come those nights, and my class is always oversubscribed because they know those are the only 2 days they're going to see me. But they also love the other coaches, and they love the culture that we built, and they understand that our boot camp isn't just the sessions, it's everything else we do as well. So then, yes, they are having to accept other coaches, but they know that they're going to be hearing from us and seeing from us in other capacities as well. So they're not just, even though I'm not there doing every single session, it doesn't really matter because I'm still there in a kind of a social presence as well.
You make me want to go into different areas.
I'm sorry. I've got so much to say. I should be quiet and let you ask the questions.
How I want to feel them. So let's go back to right where you started, because this is where maybe a number of people are. They are working a full-time job. Were you doing boot camp on the side, or did you just give up the job and just go straight in?
So I gave up my job and I had no work. I basically went back into the industry. I had like a couple of classes, but then I built up the classes, and I got enough classes to keep me going, and I built the boot camp on the side of the classes. So I was doing maybe like 13 classes a week, and then I started the Saturdays, and then I started to bring the Mondays in, and then I brought the Wednesdays in, and then I made it, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then I added the Sunday, and then a couple of years ago we added a Friday, and we also added Yummy Mummy bootcamp sessions, buggy boot camps as well. So we built up, basically. We didn't just go in full force. We built up.
How did you know when the right time to go for it was then?
When the demand was there, when people were saying, "Oh, I'd love to do it on a Wednesday." I spoke to my clientele. You have to talk to your clients. You have to ask the right questions. When you know what they want and you know when it's the right time to do it, that's when you go for it. You have to listen to your clients, basically. But I mean, obviously it can be tricky sometimes. because you may have a lot of clients wanting different days and times and things like this. So you SurveyMonkey was a great one. I'll give you an example. We were coming out of a lockdown and we couldn't keep all of our online sessions on because some of those coaches needed to be outside at the times that they were online. So we were just honest with them. We just sent out a SurveyMonkey to the members and said, look, we've got to pull these coaches out on these days and these times. We've got to reshuffle. So here are the options. What would you like to see on these days and times? These are the days and times that we found our coaches can do. And then we built a brand new timetable, and then we ran it for a month, and then we got feedback. And well, the booking and the numbers and the retention speaks for itself. So I always say communication is the key to making everything work. You've got to ask the right questions. You've got to find out what the clients want, go for what the majority would like, but also what you can do as well.
Cool. We just had a question come in on locations. Do you operate out of one location? Do you have a number of locations?
I started one, and then I started a second. And I started a second after my first child. And I very much struggled with the second location. So I decided to not continue the second location. And it was a difficult decision to make, but it was probably the best decision to make. And then I went back to the one location and I went full force on it. Like, I literally went all guns blazing on it. And that's what got me to the 200 client mark.
And you just work out of one location, do you know then?
One location and online. So we have what I call a hybrid business. We have online memberships, outdoor memberships, and a bit of both. So we offer one in between one. So some of our clients train with us in the daytime online and will come out again in the evening, and I'll see them twice in a day. They're my double crew.
Well, question for me then, because I'm not sure on what the regulations are. Can you do boot camps as a level 2 coach, or do you need your level 3 PT qualification?
Okay, this is a very good question, and a lot of people don't understand. It all comes down to the insurance company and their requirements. So when I first inquired about it, I have a group exercise qualification. So before I got my level 3, I rang, I think it was reps at the time, and they said to be qualified to train people outside, not in groups, but just outside, you need to have a level 3. However, Insure for Sport said, in order to train people outdoors in a group, you only need a group X qualification. So I was on the precipice of getting my level 3 anyway. I just needed to resubmit some paperwork and it was the job done. So I just got it anyway, but I have a group X and a level 3 and a whole bunch of other stuff on top of that. So my advice would probably be, yeah, I'd get the level 3. Also, I'd get the level 3 because level 3s are basics. Like, even level 3 is not that advanced in terms of its qualification, and you're going to be dealing with a lot of different clientele, a lot of different populations, and a lot of different situations. The amount of fitness levels and injured clients I have, I mean, there was one session where I taught, I had 12 people, and 11 of the 12 people had an issue: metal ankle, postpartum pelvic floor issues, spinal surgery, ACL repair, runner's knee. Like, literally, I had 11 conditions and one person with nothing. And you have to be able to train all of those people in one group. And if it wasn't for Faster Global, John Hardy, I wouldn't have had those skills. But I studied hard with him, and he enabled me to have the skills to train all of those people in one setting. So yeah, I'd say get level 3 and get some more on top of that. Call John from Faster Global. He'll sort you out and make sure you're extremely qualified.
Cool. So yeah, check your insurance. I think that was the key takeaway there. And if obviously you want to be a better, more all-around trainer, then obviously level 3 is massively going to help you out. So let's go back to this location. You work out of one location now.
Yeah.
How did you find this location? How does somebody find or locate a boot camp? Can they just go down to the local common or the local council field?
Yes, well, it's a bit harder nowadays. I mean, I think I was really lucky at the time because, so this location in London, I worked in property there, so I know the location really well. And it wasn't like a massively well-known area, but it was a very residential area, and there'd been a lot of people living there for a long time. And it's currently undergoing a massive renovation in terms of like the structure, like the biggest sort of overhaul of the biggest amount of space in London since the Docklands. This particular space is ran and looked after by a Friends of group. So most places in the UK have a group of people who look after the park called a Friends of group. So if you're going to a common, there may not necessarily be a Friends of group. If you're going to a park, there'll be a Friends of group. And it just so happened that one of the friends, the kind of chairman of the Friends of group, his daughter came to my session. And she turned around and said, oh, my dad has a storage container around the corner. He's the chairman of the Woodlands. Would you like to see it? And would you like his number? I was like, hell yeah. So I met him. He told me about the story of the Woodlands and the history. We got on really well. And then he showed me a storage container. And he was like, you can have all of this space here and we won't charge you. It'll be for free. But then I volunteered to pay for it. And now we volunteer to help them. So we do, we help them run events. We help them litter pick. We help them take care of the woodlands. I'm basically their security for the evening. So, you know, stuff doesn't happen. So connections, making, you know, contacting people to find out who takes care of the space. Always contact your council, because most places are now licensable. I actually contacted the council a few times, and at the time I contacted them, they said there are no licensable activities in this park, until they decided to bring one in, and then they contacted me, and now I pay an annual license to them. So yeah, sometimes licenses are extremely expensive though, so before you start you need to make sure whether that place requires a license for you to be there.
So you can't just rock up and hope for the best.
Well, you can't. Also, and one thing to note is that in their contract, in this particular council's contract, they've stated that should you set up before applying for a license, you're voiding the contract before you've even started the contract, and they can turn you away. And that's actually in their contract. So basically, like, yeah, they just won't let you rock up and just do it. And so you could actually, but by doing that and not contacting them beforehand, start yourself off on the wrong foot, and they would actually decline your application because you've already set up. So that's not in every space in the UK, not in every space. Some places, like for example, I'm in Southwark, but I have a client who owns a boot camp in West London, and they don't require a license. The council has said to her, we're thinking about bringing it in, but we're not sure yet, so you carry on.
Yeah, two things from there: be careful and just make connections, because you never know.
Yeah,
you might
just never know. Yeah, exactly. You never know.
So I'm guessing a boot camp audience is a specific type of person who wants to go out and get beasted in the rain, or can you still kind of niche down and have a specific audience when it comes to boot camps?
Yeah, you can have a specific audience. Our audience is very general. It's very hard. Like when I've worked with, when I've worked with coaches and marketing people, or I've had my website redesigned, I've always asked, what's your avatar? Who's your clientele? I'm like, male, female, age 30 to 55. Like, it's so generic. You know, I can build a few avatars, but generally mine are just local residents. And most of the people who come through our door walk past us, see my dog running around. But the first thing that catches their eye is the dog, because they just love her. And the second thing that catches their eye is everyone smiling and having fun and having a laugh. And then they think, wow, I want to be a part of that. So I don't think it really requires a certain person, as long as they're willing to be outside and be part of a group. This is a social thing for a lot of our members. Like, they come because they love the social capacity. Pre, during and post COVID, like even before COVID, we had a massive group of people who just loved being social. And the more social events we ran for them, the more culture we built, the more relationships we helped create. And the more you could step outside your door and bump into another boot camper in the area. Whereas before you'd come to boot camp, you never knew anyone in the area, never had any friends in the area. Now everyone knows everyone, and everyone's just like, hey. So, you know, that in itself is like the only thing you need to target, really. I mean,
so the key takeaway is a mascot or get a dog.
Get a dog, get a dog, and get a bunch of happy, smiley, friendly customers who will promote it for that.
Let's move on to pricing and offer then.
Yes.
When I got started and I started off doing outdoor boot camps, it was just £5 a session. If people turned up, I might make 50 quid. If no one turned up, I lost a couple of hours of extra sleep I could have had.
Yeah.
What is the situation when it comes to pricing and offers?
Yeah, so I was a pay-as-you-go when I first started. You know, I mean, I think that's how a lot of people start out. I know people who've inherited boot camps that aren't pay-as-you-go, and then they've taken over it and then they've built on it. And I know people who started as pay-as-you-go, and then I know people who started at a really high price level, and you look at that and go, blimey, 150 quid a month for a boot camp for 3 sessions a week. That's insane. So I know people who have started outdoor boot camps from lots of, but also it's the way you brand it. So the one who charges 150 quid does not brand it as a boot camp. He doesn't even use the word boot camp. He brands it as something entirely different. And you know, it's an accountability program, and they get the nutrition included, and you know, there's before and afters plastered everywhere, and stories and testimonials, and you know, so it really depends on what you want to build. You can build a £5 a session boot camp. You might offer a block of 10 sessions, but you're not really going to be able to predict your revenue. You're not really going to be able to build a business out of that. So the questions that I would ask someone who's starting a boot camp is, what do you want out of it? Do you want to build a business? Do you want to build a full-time job? Do you want reoccurring revenue? Do you want profitability? Do you want, what's the word? You know, do you want security, job security kind of thing? Are you doing it for an extra little bit of cash? Is it going to be your main gig? What are your goals? And that's the first thing I'd ask someone who wants to start a boot camp. What they're doing it for?
Question, and it's totally up to you if you want to answer this. How much do you charge?
Okay, so good question. So I charge anything between, and it really just depends on the package. And so I charge anything between £67 a month and £137 a month. Yeah. And then I have accountability programs that are £500 for a 6-week program.
That's the next. He goes on something else, asks you about online stuff in a minute, but we'll dive into that when we get to that section. Okay, so just like anything else, guys, anybody watching this, if you price per session, if these people don't turn up, you can't guarantee anything. Whereas if you can get people a monthly, even if you just charge £20 a month, you've got 100 clients paying you £20 a month. You know, at the start of every month, you've got £2,000 coming in, no matter what happens. So definitely come away from the price per session situation.
I would never charge price per session ever again. We have, like I said, a structure of a certain amount of money to a certain amount of money, and it's dependent on a certain amount of sessions. I also don't have an unlimited package anymore. I used to, and I still have a few clients on that, and they will come 5 days a week, and they take spaces up in all of the classes, and they don't cancel in time, or they'll just not show, but they don't care because it doesn't take a session away from them. And therefore we now have a capacity issue. We're nearly fully booked, and all of our classes are full to the brim. And I've got all these members on monthly unlimited, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, these memberships really annoy me, these monthly unlimiteds, because they come in 5 days a week, but they don't actually show up to 5 days a week. So one thing I would 100% put out there right now is don't ever sell an unlimited package to anyone, because first of all, they're not going to use it. But if you then change your business model later down the line, and you don't want people coming more than a certain amount of times a week because you have a capacity issue, it will bite you in the butt later. And also, no one promotes unlimited amounts of training. Recovery and rest is such an important part of the process. So really, you've got to look at your core values and your company and your morals and what you stand for as a coach. Do you want your people training 5 days a week? Do you train 5 days a week? Do you expect people to train that amount of time? So I would also look at your packages and go, right, on a realistic level, how many times a week are they going to train? Who am I targeting? Do they supplement their training? Do they also have a gym membership? Maybe they go to the gym, lift weights twice a week and want to supplement with 2 sessions a week. Or maybe they're a runner and they want to supplement with 3 sessions a week. So that from there, from looking at your clientele and knowing their needs is where you can build your packages, but just don't do unlimited.
Nice. Okay, so you've mentioned culture, support, group, accountability, and all this other stuff. So where does all this happen outside of the session? What is it that makes it so special outside of the session?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook group, we have a WhatsApp group, but we have a lot of active members who post in these Facebook groups and these WhatsApp groups. And then they've gone and created other groups as well for other interests. And so it's not just us, it's the members themselves who are actually doing these things. We have Spartan groups, we have a runners group, we have lots of events that we put on. So we're doing a kind of almost like a charity event soon. We're doing like a yoga session in the park, and we're gonna have like a clothing company come down and sell some clothing, and I've got a jewellery company coming down, and then I'm trying to find a women's health specialist who can talk to the girls about women's health and women's health awareness. And you know, we're going to try and do it for a charity, maybe breast cancer charity, so everyone buys a ticket for this little event that we're going to set up. So we do little things like that. Every year we have a birthday and we celebrate our birthday. We celebrate our anniversary of when we set up. And on this birthday, we have a sports day style session, and we hand out trophies for 6 categories of people. So we have Bootcamp Couple of the Year. We have Bootcamp Best Newcomer. We have Bootcamp Biggest Loser, like the person who's lost the biggest amount of weight. So we have all these trophies, and we actually get them engraved with their names, and we hand them out. We hand out a gift to all of our members, and then we have a massive cake, loads of Prosecco, and then everyone gets pissed in the park together. That, like the last time we were allowed to do that was 2 years ago. Last year we did it, but in a different way. It got us so many new clients because everybody loved the social capacity and how nice it is. Like everyone was just having a laugh and stuff. We do that every Christmas as well. We organise a massive Christmas party, and we'll get 50 people show up for a Christmas party. And they'll actually come along. We'll have drinks nights. We have Member of the Month, and now we have Member of the Month for outdoor and online, because both of the businesses are quite predominant, and we celebrate our members' success. Every little bit, like the first time someone managed to do a 5K, or the first time when they get to 100 sessions. I've got a boot camper who's nearly done 1,000 sessions. And when he gets to 1,000, and this guy's beat cancer twice, and his nerve endings are fried from chemo, and he's got the shakes, but he still shows up, and he shows up with a smile on his face. And when he gets to his 100th session, he came on my first ever class 8 years ago. We are going to have a massive party for him. So you just have to really, the way we create this culture is by celebrating their successes, no matter how little, no matter how big. When a client has a breakthrough, make a big deal out of it.
Cool. So it's March 2020, everything's going well, and then lockdown came. What did you do? How did you transition to the online? Did you have online pre-lockdown?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
How did you?
So yeah, so I started something in 2018 called Mother Move, which was an online platform for mums who struggled to get childcare and go to sessions or classes or gyms or whatever. So we ran 6 online sessions a week, Pilates and postpartum friendly sessions for mums who just really wanted to be able to get to classes and see other mums. And so we'd all be there on screen with our kids. Like, I wouldn't have mine, they'd be in school, but these girls would all have the kids, and we'd all get through a training session together. And I did that all the way up until the end of 2019, and then I started ongoing a massive house build, and I had no more space in the house to do the sessions. So I called it off for a little bit, and then I started realizing February 2020, that we were about to go into something serious. And so I decided to bring the online classes back, call a few of those clients, see if they wanted to jump back on board. And then I structured both an online and outdoor timetable, because I spoke to my members and I realized a lot of them were uneasy about coming outside and they wanted to transfer online straight away. And the more I spoke to my members, the more I realized, okay, we've now got to build a proper online timetable. So we've got to go back online. So I didn't bring Mother Move back, but what I brought back was Bootcamp SC16 online. And so then we created an insane timetable. So in February, by the end of February, we had outdoor and online. We didn't have loads online, but we had enough to keep the ones who wanted to be online going. And we created the membership structure for that. And then when we went into the lockdown, we basically said to everybody, right, we're moving you all online. If you don't want to come online, just let us know. But if you do want to come online, we're going to add an extra 2 sessions a week to all of your memberships. So we're going to give you more for what you're paying. And they were like kids in a candy store. They were like, oh my God. And because we created a timetable that had the most amazing like names of classes, they were like, oh, I'm going to try this one. I'm going to try this one. And they were all had packed out 30 people in every class. And we built a timetable about 20 sessions and literally every class was packed out. And they were all enjoying it because we were all in lockdown. No one had anything to do. No one was leaving the house. So I was seeing people twice a day on the screen and we were having such a laugh doing it. And we had loads of quizzes. We had loads of drinks nights. We would play Have You Ever with a few bottles of wine, which you don't do with your clients, FYI. Because then you know a little bit too much about them and then you get that uncomfortability and when you then meet again in person. But it was great. And we actually retained like we'd lost a lot of people. We lost a lot because they didn't want to come online. They didn't even want to give it a try. But the ones who did really did it well. And then we built a few people. We kind of got a few. And yeah, it was okay. We did all right.
This brings me on to the question you followed up with earlier on the site. Yeah. Where do you do these online classes? Is it just in a spare bedroom or do you rent a room or...
In the first lockdown, I was undergoing a house build and I was living on the top floor of my house. The whole of my house had been gutted and I was teaching in my son's bedroom. Like you could see his cot in the background. We ate in that room. We had dinner in that room. I taught my classes in that room. That was the only room in the house that we had space to do anything in because we had no house. So that's where I taught, and the box bedroom and in my hallway, in my landing, like literally. So when people turn around and said to me, oh, Steph, I don't want to go online because I don't have space. I'm like, mate, I'm teaching in my kid's bedroom right now. Like, seriously, you're telling me you don't have space. I'm like, if I can do it in my box room or in my kid's room, you guys can do it on your like little bit of carpet, you know?
Oh, no, that's excellent. And then communication, you mentioned it loads and loads and loads of times.
Yeah.
Communicate, it's like so important. And the way you come across and explained it all, that's been like one of the main things that's helped the business develop so much, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we communicated very, very, very much with our clients at the start of lockdown. Like we sent out COVID updates, like, you know, every 3 days we were messaging them and emailing them. We set up the WhatsApp group. We called it the WhatsApp support group straight away for anyone who had to self-isolate, who was having who had any symptoms and who needed shopping brought to them or who was going through a tough time mentally. So we set up a WhatsApp support group. Me and my admin assistant, we spared no second at all setting up the infrastructure for our online business. We went to town on it. And then we started creating challenges and monthly themes to keep engagement going and to keep retention happening. Those things are important. You know, we created a lot of different things and some of the members had input on them and some of them still do have input. So yeah, communication, 100% all the way through.
So let's kind of finish then with a final couple of tips or anything you think. Let's consider both somebody wanting to start a bootcamp and somebody who wants to kind of scale to your level of bootcamp. What are the final few tips you kind of say to them?
Yeah. You need a good team. You need a reliable team of coaches, and know when it gets too much for you, and sometimes you have to take a step back to take a step forward. So you know, I had to get an admin assistant and it was going to cost me money, but at the end of the day it's paid off because it freed up more time for me to then jump into sales. and really go on board with the sales and the marketing. So when I had to take a pay cut to be able to afford her, but when I afforded her, it enabled me to then drive the business forward. And then it got to the stage where I could afford a sales assistant to help me, and we both now do the sales and we manage the sales together. But just know when it's the right time for you to invest in the right people to help you scale up. I think that's the trickiest part for a lot of people. I've spoken to a lot of people who are on the cusp of needing someone, but don't want to quite get someone there because they can't necessarily afford them. But there's lots of ways to do it as well. You don't have to employ someone full-time. You can employ someone not even necessarily part-time, just on an hourly rate, just to do bits for you here and there. Maybe they'll do 8 hours a week for you at, a set rate, an hourly rate or something like that. You don't even have to, you can contract it out, but yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that moved me from running the whole thing by myself to getting to where we are now.
Perfect. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, thanks for having me, David.
So if anybody wants to learn more about maybe your boot camp, or did you say you're helping some people with their boot camps kind of get
yes.
as well, how can people come and find out a little bit more about you?
So just go to my Facebook page and private message me on Facebook. I do offer coaching, Stephanie Jannati. You can even inbox us on the Bootcamp SE16 page. Just go to Bootcamp SE16 either on Instagram or Facebook and DM us, or you can come to my personal page and DM me. I do offer coaching for bootcamp businesses out there. I like to help other businesses where I can.
No, thank you again. I guess if you're watching this now, in future we'll have even more questions. And it was just quite interesting. You are, what's the best way? I wouldn't say over the top. You give so much to your clients. It's not like you going crazy, but there's some of the stuff that you're coming out with and stuff that you're saying. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I could have done that for DK9 Fitness and stuff as well.
Right.
There's lots of stuff there. So I'm guessing this from one of those episodes, they'll go back and watch it again and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. It's hard to keep up the momentum sometimes, but it's all in the planning. So we have an annual planner. And so when we know when we need to get stuff on the go, and I have an admin assistant who's now got into the flow of things, and we just churn it out, and it's normal for us, but it is a full-time job.
Appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thanks, David.
Soon.
All right, take it easy.
So that was Stephanie from Bootcamp SE16, and it was one of those episodes where you can really see a real life situation of moving home, changing venues, COVID, having children, and everything thrown in. So no matter what your situation is, there's always going to be somebody who's a little bit more, they've got a little bit more going on, and they're still progressing, okay? So always keep moving forward no matter what happens in your life. I'm going to leave it there for today. Like I say, this week is all about business development and business growth. So we've got loads of stuff coming your way this week. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Cheers.